Hi guys, I am Anish Deshpande, and in this video we are going to see a game in the Scotch Gambit. This is a series of games where I will show you some games in the Scotch Gambit, and it will give you a better idea about this opening. If you haven't seen our previous video on the Scotch Gambit, click on the I button above. But guys, wait, what am I seeing? 90% of you aren't subscribed. For more such videos, subscribe to my channel and like this video. So guys, uh, in this game, Alexander Goryachkina was playing as white and Anton Demchenko was playing as black. So Alexander Goryachkina opened the game with 1 e4 and Anton Demchenko replied e5, then knight to f3, knight to c6, d4, c takes on d4 and bishop to c4. The basic moves of the Scotch Gambit. Then black played knight to f6, white castled. Knight takes on e4, rook e1, d5. Bishop takes on d5, queen takes on d5. White sacrificed a piece, but it's temporary as after knight to c3 he regains the piece as knight on e4 is pinned and pawn on d4 is also pinned to the queen. So here black played queen to h5 and white took knight takes on e4. Here black played bishop to e6 to avoid any check from this rook on e1, and then white here played bishop to g5 to stop black's long castling plans. Here black played h6 and white played bishop to f6. As you can see, black cannot take here as knight takes on f6 and the queen on h5 is gone. So black played here queen to g6 attacking the bishop twice. White played knight to h5 uh, uh, attacking the queen. Queen to h7 and white played queen to h5. As you can see, black still cannot take on f6 as knight takes on f6 and it's a fork on the king and the queen. So black played here king to d7, but he wants to put his rook on e8 and put the king back to c8 into safety. But this move is a waste of time as the bishop is not forced to move here. The king is still in the range of the knight. And still black cannot take this bishop as it would be a fork on the king and the queen. So white played rook to d1, black played rook to e8 and white played bishop captures on d4. Black played king to c8, now finally putting into his king into safety. uh, White played bishop to c3 saving his bishop. Black played b6, white played a queen to f3. Black played knight to b8. Knight to b8 was necessary as this knight would have moved and it would be have a checkmating threat on a8. Say suppose if white had played something like g6, then knight to g3, and now if the knight moves there is a mate on a8, so you still have to play knight to b8. So black played knight to b8 uh, here to avoid all such attacks and mating ideas. White played knight to g3 going for the f5 square. Black played rook to g8 intending g5. White played knight h to f5. Black played queen to g6. White played knight to d4. Black played bishop to c5, knight to b5, c6, bishop d6, knight d6 check, bishop takes d6, rook takes d6. Still here the game is equal, but we will see how Alexander Goryachkina converts this into a win. Black played king to b7, white played h3, clearing his back rank, and as his king would have a square on h2 if there is any check on the back rank. Black played rook to d8, white played rook e to d1. Black took with the rook on d6, white took back with the rook. And here black made a mistake. He took the pawn on c2. Now if you want to find a winning move for white, you can pause this video. So guys, I hope you have paused the video and you have come to an answer. So the move is rook takes on e6, f takes on e6 and queen to f7 check. This is what happened in the game. Now the rook is hanging, so black had to play knight to d7 supporting the rook, but now the knight was gone. Queen takes on d7, king to h6, queen takes on c6. Black gave queen to b1 check, king h2, and queen takes a2. Here white played knight to e4. Now this position is already much better for white, as he has two minor pieces for a rook. And also black's king is too weak. Black played queen to d5, offering the exchange of queens. If the queens would get exchanged, black has a rook and a pawn for two minor pieces, so it would be okay. So Alexandria decided to keep the queens on the board. She gave queen to a4 check, king to b7 and f3, saving the knight. Here black played a5, white played queen to c2. Black played rook to c8, putting the rook in front of the queen. So white played queen to f2. Uh, uh, White played queen to f2, moving in front of the rook. Black played rook to c7, defending the pawn on g7. White played queen to g3, and here black played the move a4, trying to push his pawn to a3. So here white played bishop captures on g7. Black played b5. He wants to create a passed pawn here with the help of these two pawns, but in this process black's king is getting weak. uh, White played bishop to d5, and here black just made a mistake with rook to d7, as knight to f6 was a fork on the queen and the rook. Here black played queen to c6, white took on d7, queen takes on d7. Here white is already winning as he is a piece up. Here black played queen to f4, white played queen to d5, and black played queen to d5, and white took its chance with queen to e4, forcing the exchange of queens. Black played king to c6, white took on d5, king takes on d5, and played his pawn to f4. Black is trying hard here by playing king to e4, but he just lost. uh, White played g4, black played pawn to b4, trying to create a passed pawn on the queen side, but this bishop is always there to cover that passed pawn. So white played king to g3, black played king to d5, white played pawn to h4, black played king to e4. Black can't do much here as this bishop is going to stop the passed pawn, and black has nothing to do. He just can wait to see what white does to win this game. So white finally played g4, h takes on g4, h takes on g4. Black played king to f5, stopping white to coming from g4, but black played king to f3, and white had to move his king. So he played king to g6, and he finally had to allow king to g4. And now he played king to f7, king h5, king g8, king h6, king f8, king h7, king e7, g6, king d7, g7, king c6. Black is just fighting here for nothing. He just lost in this position. So white queen is pawn to g8 queens, king d5, queen f7, king c4. Black had to give up the pawn on e6, queen takes on e6, king d3, queen d5 check, king c2, queen c4 check, king b1, queen takes on b4, a3, b takes a3 check, king c2, and after queen to b2, Anton Demchenko raised his hands, and he accepted that he has lost the game. So this was an exciting game in the Scotch Gambit where white crushed black. So you can play this opening to give your opponents a surprise, and you can try in one of your games.